Meet Im-sol, a young woman struggling with depression after a recent accident. While lying in her hospital bed, she thinks of taking her own life using a shard from a broken vase. At this moment, she gets a call and it's from a radio show playing in the background. Sol has been chosen to talk to the idol band member Sun Jae, and his warm words ring over her phone and encourage Sol to keep living. Jumping ahead to today, Sol is now a devoted fan of the band Eclipse, and especially of Sun Jae, whose childhood watch that she's brought on auction. Excited for Eclipse's concert, Sol faces a series of setbacks, including losing a job interview due to her disability. Sol's legs are paralyzed, forcing her to use a wheelchair and dropping her concert ticket. But despite these challenges, as she listens to the concert from outside the venue, Sol is deeply moved by Sun Jae singing Song Guy and a beautiful striped back piano performance. On her way home, Sol's electric wheelchair runs out of battery, trapping her on the snowy Han River Bridge. Out of nowhere, Sun Jae, driving up his back VIP van, appears to help her, and when Sol gets home, she's over the moon. Not only has she met her idol, but he even gave her an umbrella. However, the night takes a tragic turn as Sun Jae returns to his hotel room, overwhelmed by his own struggles, and he takes his own life. Devastated by the news, Im-sol races to the hospital, and in her rush, she trips and presses a button on Sun Jae's watch, transporting her back to 2008. Waking up in her teenage body, Im-sol is determined to prevent Sun Jae's tragic future. Unbeknownst to her past self, Sol had actually been Sun Jae's neighbor and first love, having fallen for her at first sight during a rain shower or sun guy, hence the name of the song. Believing the pressures of being an idol to be what led to his death, Sol tries to warn Sun Jae about events that would affect his future. Particularly, she tries to warn him against competing in a specific competition that will end his swimming career. Her attempt made more difficult by time stopping whenever she mentions the future only deepens Sun Jae's curiosity, and why was his neighbor and crush acting so strangely now? However, Sol's warnings don't work, and afterwards, Sun Jae competes and wins the swimming competition, and he invites her to get food together. But instead of confessing feelings, Sol friendzones him. Although Sun Jae had won the competition, his doctor tells him that he'd messed up his shoulder, meaning he can't swim anymore. Not long after, Sol drunkenly follows Sun Jae when she sees him walking to school late at night, sitting by a dark pool. Sun Jae confesses his feelings and kisses her. However, Sol backs out and doesn't remember anything the next morning. Then just Seung, her teenage crush and local bad boy, asks her out, and Sol is abruptly returned to the future. In the present, Sol is gutted to see Sun Jae is still dead, and wastes no time using the watch to return to the past. Although Sun Jae tries to push Sol away now that she's dating Seung, his feelings for her only deepen when he finds her asleep under his bed. And this is after she tries to steal and destroy the business card that a music label scout gave him. Despite her efforts to stop Sun Jae from becoming a musician, his skills are undeniable. One night after Sun Jae amazes everyone with an impromptu performance with his best friend in Hyuk's band, an anxious Im-sol barks at him and she begs him to be selfish in life, referring to the depression that took his life as a musician. Later, Sun Jae gets back to her, saying that if he really can be selfish, then he'd want to ask her to end things with Seung. While at the same time listening to the accidental recordings of Sun Jae's pool confession, Sol realizes his feelings, and over the next few days, she breaks up with Seung. With Seung and Sol not together anymore, Sun Jae again tells Sol that he really likes her. And this time, the confession happens after they go to the Olympic baseball street, cheering the event together. And in the end, Sol rejects Sun Jae, knowing she'll inevitably return to the future. All this time, there has been one specific day that Sol had been dreading, the day that she got into the accident. When the day comes, despite promising herself that she'd stay inside, Sol rushes out in the rain when she sees Sun Jae headed to the park. But just like last time, Sol is in danger. Running down the tight alleyway, Sol narrowly escapes the serial kidnapper or murderer cab driver Kim Yong-soo. In the last timeline, he'd kidnapped Seol and tried to kill her before Sun Jae had come to her rescue and fought Kim Young-soo off. In this timeline, Sun Jae spots Seol, who passes out from the shock and wakes up in the present. Suddenly, Seol finds herself able to walk and work in the film industry, plus Sun Jae was alive and thriving as an idol. Working for a film production company, Seol is tasked with convincing Sun Jae to sign on to a movie. However, Seol notices that many of the events that had happened in the original timeline were happening again. Worried that this might mean Sun Jae might be fated to die again, Seol meets Sun Jae on the Han River Bridge after his concert. Determined to stay by his side, Seol shocks Sun Jae when she boldly suggests that they spend their night together. Not allowing him to spend a second alone, Seol spends the night at Sun Jae's luxurious apartment, leading to a series of comedic moments. In one specific instance, Hyuk barges in and accidentally reveals how Sun Jae had never gotten over Seol and how whenever Sun Jae had gotten drunk, he'd cried about missing her, not knowing that she could hear him. By the morning, Seol confesses her feelings and they share a passionate kiss, and thinking that the night was over and Sun Jae was safe, Seol was horrified when he hears the news reports that Kim Young-soo had broken into Sun Jae's room and stabbed him with a knife. She can't let Sun Jae die because of her, and desperate, Seol reaches for Sun Jae's watch and opens her eyes in 2009. On a college field trip, a drunk Seol shocks Sun Jae, who goes to the same university as her, by singing his unreleased song Seung. Puzzled by how on earth Seol knows the song, the next day, Sun Jae decides to go and ask her. Seol tries her best to explain how she traveled through time and space, but it was a difficult thing to believe, and not sure what to make of Seol's story, Sun Jae decides to leave for the US to get physical therapy for his shoulder and a last-ditch attempt at swimming again. Later, Seol, coming back from the airport where she went to see Sun Jae's plane take off, sees a white truck just like the one that Kim Young-soo owns following her, and in cold chills she starts to run away, only to run into Sun Jae. Holding her close, Sun Jae reveals that instead of going to America, he'd gone to dig up their time capsule, and reading the letter inside, he'd realized that Seol must have been telling the truth about the time travel. Sun Jae also says that having read the letter, he realizes that she likes him and asks Seol to stop resisting her feelings. Agreeing, Seol and Sun Jae kiss and they finally start dating, even going on a seaside trip with their friends. But despite their happiness while at the coast, Seol finds herself aware of new memories. Something in the timeline has shifted. Feeling the threat of Kim Young-soo looming and determined to confront him without involving Sun Jae, Seol stays behind while her friends return to Seoul, ready to face the danger head-on. Seol's instincts had been right. As her friends boarded the train back home, Kim Young-soo had left the station in search of his target. Arriving back in Seoul, Sun Jae realizes Seol is in danger and frantically goes to search for her. Racing back to the coast, Sun Jae's rescue attempts inadvertently ruin Seol's carefully laid trap, which she had put together with Tae-seung's dad, who is the detective in charge of arresting and capturing Kim Young-soo. Standing on the cliffs with the sea gushing below, Kim Young-soo once again attacks Sun Jae. Having run out of options, Seol makes the drastic decision to destroy her and Sun Jae's initial connection by going to the past and not meeting him during the rain shower. When she now wakes up in the present, Sun Jae was alive and a top actor, though he has no memory of her, and Seol is forced to live as the only one who remembers their love. Having successfully avoided Sun Jae since coming back to the future, fate was about to be tested when Seol's movie proposal, based on her own life experiences, is sent to Sun Jae by mistake. Reading it, Sun Jae finds himself crying and insists on starring in the film despite Seol's reluctance to work with him. Over the following weeks, Seol and Sun Jae's paths cross in a bunch of unexpected ways, including getting stuck on a Ferris wheel together. At the same time, Seol has re-befriended Tae-seung, who is now working as a police officer and who has begun to look into Kim Young-soo. Going to arrest Kim Young-soo, Tae-seung ends up chasing him through the streets of Seoul, and at the same time, Sun Jae starts getting intense flashbacks of him and Seoul's past, and eventually, as Sun Jae was standing on the side of the street, all the memories come back in one big wave, causing him to sway in front of the traffic. Seeing Kim Young-seo target the swaying Sun-jae, Tae-seung crashes into Kim Young-seo's car, and being chased on foot by Tae-seung, Kim Young-seo dies instantly when he is hit by a truck and falls into the river. Hearing about the accident, Seol jumps out of her taxi and runs to find Sun-jae and hugs him, and she couldn't believe that he can remember everything that they've done together. With Kim Young-seo now gone, Sun-jae's memories restored, Seol and Sun-jae begin dating, and she decides to go after her goal of becoming a movie director. With Seol chasing her dream and Sun-jae trying to decide how to propose, their love flourishes, and eventually the two get engaged, and once Sun-jae romantically asks her to get married beneath a cherry blossom tree, this proves that true love will always win in the end.
And with that, the movie ends. We hope you enjoyed our video. Watch the next recaps on the screen, and don't forget to subscribe for more amazing recaps. See you in the next one.